welcome to the Creatives Get Real podcast. I'm Roben-Marie Smith.
And I'm Sandi Keene, and these are real conversations about the creative life. Hey, Roben-Marie.
Hey, dear, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. Day 576.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
counting.
And counting. Yeah.
hmm
Oh,
Yeah, it's an interesting time, that's for sure.
oh, yes.
So we're going to talk about, I think is an appropriate topic, and that is how to take advantage of large blocks of time, like when you're quarantined.
Yeah. To be creative, to boost your creativity, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're in this situation. How can we actually make it work to our advantage?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going to talk about. And
Yep.
if you're, hopefully we won't have to do this again, but you could talk about times when maybe you're on a vacation and you have all of this extra time
Mm-hmm.
that you want to spend doing sitting on the beach. And can you imagine being on the beach again? Sitting
Mm-hmm.
on the beach or on the balcony of your hotel, and you have time just for you and creativity. So
Yes.
what are some of the things that you could do to take real advantage of that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we've got 14 ideas for you guys today.
We do. And they're
Mm-hmm.
ones that, yeah, we've either taken advantage of or think, wow, I should be doing this, shouldn't I?
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
This is probably better than that bag of cookies I just ate.
Absolutely. Cookies over cake. Oh.
All right. Would you like to start with the first one?
Oh, absolutely. I'll start. So the first one is join an online community, specifically thinking about Facebook groups. You may already be in a Facebook group. You might already have some favorites that you're a part of, but it's a great time to jump in and maybe be a little more active because we have a little bit more time and
Mm-hmm.
be involved, post your work, share ideas, and see what others are doing. And that can help boost your creativity. Just kind of lurking or being involved in the community.
Yeah, I think being involved is a good idea. I'm a big lurker. I'll be honest. Facebook
Yeah.
is not my medium.
Hmm.
So I'm a lurker. But if you could actually get involved, you never know who you're going to meet.
That's true.
Yeah, or who you're going to be inspired by or what new tool, medium, supply you're
Hmm.
going to learn about.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of inspiration and education to be gleaned from those groups.
Yep. And there's a lot of free groups. You might even be part of a group where you've purchased a class and there's a group. Jump in if you haven't been in it in a while and just reach out to some of the other community members and just chit chat. I mean, like you said, you
Mm-hmm.
never know who you might meet or what you might learn. Hmm.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, mine is organize your studio. Now, and I'm not just talking about cleaning it, though,
Hmm.
gosh, I don't think there's anything for me that's more productive than to clean my studio. But I mean to actually get in there and look at your supplies. What do you still have that you haven't done in 3 to 5 years? And there's a good chance you're never going to do it again because you've outgrown it.
Sure. That's true.
So, maybe it's a huge clear stamp collection and you
Hmm.
don't stamp anymore, that you've
Yeah.
moved to you actually draw things instead of
Hmm.
stamping them.
Yeah.
Or let's see, maybe it's oil paints and you've decided oil paints are not your thing. Or where could you donate those
Hmm.
supplies to?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think in these times, there are so many worthy organizations
Hmm. Yep.
from nursing homes where people are, not getting visits from their loved ones and really need to be kept active and engaged all day long.
Yeah, that's a good
That
point.
nursing homes could really use any craft supplies that you have. And
Yep.
then there's the usual ones like a school or a daycare.
Absolutely. I recently, at the beginning of this quarantine, went through a ton of old scrapbook stuff like papers and just all the stuff, the brads, the things that we, used. And I had so much. And I know of a lady through our church who does a ministry with that, with elderly. And so I just filled this huge tub full of stuff, and we just dropped it off on her porch and messaged her and said, hope you can use all of this. And she was, thrilled, because there was so much stuff in there, but it had just been sitting in bins in my attic. I mean, I hadn't been using it. I had stuff in the studio. I pulled that stuff out, and it just felt good to know now that it's going to somebody who definitely is going to be able to use it, and it's not taking up any more space that I didn't have.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's something about going into a space that's been decluttered, and all of the supplies you see are supplies that actually support the artist or the creative that you are now. That can be a real boost just in that.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because I know I still have things in there in my studio space that I'm holding on to. I used to think I really, really want to make jewelry, and I loved doing it, but I knew it wasn't going to be my thing. And so I always gravitate to the things that I enjoy doing. And I really started seeing that I was finding this is what I love. I love, paper and painting and collage. And so those things are still sitting in a couple bins in there. And I'm having a hard time parting with all the beads and the wire and all of that. And I probably will one day. I've sorted through it and given away some of the things and donated, but there's still those other things in there. I don't know what I'm holding on for. What, in 3 or 5 years, I'm going to just suddenly decide to change. But you're right, though. It's a good feeling when you've discovered this is what I love, and I'm really going to give it my all and focus on it. And then what's around you starts to emulate that, the supplies that you're using and how you're using them, and you feel a little bit freer or lighter when you've done that. Yeah.
I agree.
Yep.
I mean, you could save a few of those beads for the outside of journals and things.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Yeah.
But maybe not a huge
all of them.
Tote full of them.
Yeah, there's quite a few in there. I had my days, but yeah. So, okay. So the next one, making a daily habit to be creative. And this is perfect because as we are recording, I'm involved in the 100-Day project. I know we've talked about that on some other podcast episodes. It does run 100 days, so there's definitely time to talk about it. But I've done this. This is my 4th year, and I love doing this project. It's not easy because you are committing to doing something for 100 days, but it really helps me get into that daily mindset of creating, whatever that is. It's whatever you choose to do. But I've been finding that I do pop in there even separate from doing the project, and I'll just go in there and maybe put some paint on the papers or watercolors or whatever, and just let it dry, and then I'll pop back in again. It's just kind of weird how your mind starts thinking that way. It starts thinking of doing something creative. And I think at times maybe others can relate to this. It's the thought of going in and actually finishing something. You don't have to do that. You can just do a little bit of something, whether it's, like you said, maybe you're just organizing some things, or maybe you're just doing a journal entry, or maybe you're just making some papers or cutting things up for collage. It doesn't have to be the finishing of something. And I used to have that mindset, where it was like, well, no, if I'm going to go in there, I've got to be super productive and I've got to create something. And it doesn't. Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So daily habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's such an important thing. I mean, that's when your growth really takes off, is when you commit. And you're right. It can be 15 minutes. It doesn't have to be 3 hours, just 15 minutes, but to do something and practice something daily, that's huge.
And to be gentle with yourself if you miss a day or two, because that happens. And, life happens, schedules happen, but it's, if you're looking at it in terms of not having to commit to hours every day, then it's much more doable for you, So.
Yeah. If you're talking 15 minutes, let's say that your day gets really busy and you can't do it. It can be 15 minutes while, you're in front of the TV and you're, just slopping paint on or doodling or whatever. But you can usually find 15 minutes in a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great one. Okay. Next one is to take a class. This is a great time.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask for a show of hands, and we're going to pretend like we can see them. I'd like a show of hands of how many people have purchased a class that they've never either A, finished. Robin's waving her hand. So yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
You've either haven't finished it or you haven't even started it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we all can. Yes.
Yes. Yes. So one of the two, either finish a class that you've started and haven't finished or started at all, or find that new thing that's really exciting to you and go just dive headfirst into a class.
Yeah.
Oh, I love a good
If we're
class.
gonna sit down and we're going to watch a movie on Netflix for 2 hours, let's say, or an hour and 45 minutes, why not? And I did this: plug in your laptop with your HDMI cable or whatever into your TV, so it's huge screen or whatever your screen size is, and just binge watch the course. Don't do anything, just watch the videos. And snack while you're doing it, take notes while you're doing it. I always have a little notebook there to jot down notes, and then just immerse yourself in watching that. It's like a documentary or, one of those
True.
DIY TV shows. If you're going to sit and watch a movie, why not go ahead and watch that course? Even if you don't have the time to actually sit down and apply what you're learning, just watch it. And then take the notes and all. And then you'll be amazed at how inspired you are and ready you are to just kind of jump in and start working on it. So, yeah.
Yep. That's a great idea. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so live stream paint-alongs. And I actually did one of these. I participated in it. It was an artist who was just doing, we're all getting really clever right now as we, have to be resourceful with things. And so she had some classes that she was going to be doing in person. A lot of artists that have canceled. So she did a Zoom live stream where we were painting with her. And it was actually a lot of fun. We were on video. The students could all see one another, and we were able to hold our work up to the camera. And it was really a lot of fun. It was just like an hour and a half, 2 hours one afternoon. I thought, why not? I'm going to give this a go and just see how fun it is. And I loved it because we were actually all working together, and the teacher was kind of showing what she was doing. And it was just a lot of fun. It was almost like being in a live class. It was like the next best thing, but it was kind of cool to, and then I met some other students in the class that I'm connecting with now. So it was really a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Have you done any of those yet?
I have watched paint-alongs on YouTube, live stream on YouTube. Yeah, I've done that, but I haven't done one where, you can see everybody and you're painting along. I've just done them watching them.
Yeah.
But it's really fun, especially when you're watching a medium that you don't do. Like I was actually watching a pastel artist, and she's amazing. Like, wow, she's so good. So it was so cool because that's not a medium that I'm in, but to see her talk about color and sketching and all of those things where there's overlap, it was really, really interesting. And I enjoyed it a lot. And I actually purchased a class from her.
Awesome.
So, yeah, her marketing worked.
There you go. That's it. There you go. Even from a business perspective, it's a good thing. Yeah.
It is a good thing. Okay, I think it's my turn. Start an inspiration journal. Wow, this is so good. And this is where you can do it any way you want, but just to throw out a few ideas, there's the kind where when you see something that you're inspired by, you just do a little thumbnail sketch and take notes, like what inspired you? Was it color? Was it composition? Was it a new medium? What was it? And keep track of that. And the other is where you rip things out of magazines, and maybe you even copy things off the internet, do a screenshot, and actually print it out on your printer and put it in, however you want to do it. But just when you sit down to do new work, you pull out that journal, and it's so much better than facing that blank page. It's like, oh yeah, I wanted to try this.
Or like maybe you see something that you want to sketch it, use it as like a starting point or a reference photo.
Right.
Yeah. Because you can go on Pinterest, but then having it kind of in your little journal and putting that together that in itself is inspiring. Your journal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah, I love them.
Mhm.
Okay, you.
Okay. So the next one is make goals and action steps. Mm-hmm.
This sounds like you.
Yeah, sort of that keeping a list, writing things down. I think this kind of almost plays into the idea of the daily habit, maybe those courses that you signed up for, is saying, okay, these are some things that I really want to accomplish. I want to learn XYZ, or I want to finish this course that I signed up for. How can I make that happen? Well, it's 5 hours of video. So let me break that down. Rather than looking at it as one big thing, break it
Mm-hmm.
down and say, okay, if I can put an hour in every other day or every day for this week, I'm going to focus on this one thing. I find
Mm-hmm.
that easier to do, not only in creativity or in the business side of things, but to say, all right, there's so many things that need to be done or I want to do. How can I prioritize that and say, all right, rather than looking at all of them, say, all right, this week's focus is on that class I signed up for. And what do I need to do to break it down so that I take the class, enjoy it, and have time to actually implement what I'm learning? And if it takes
Right.
2 weeks, then do it for 2 weeks. But I find if I just sort of think about it too much and I don't like set a plan, I won't
Mm-hmm.
probably do it. It'll
Right.
be like, oh, there's another thing I want to focus on, which, the shiny object syndrome, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh. But if I
The
kind of say, all
squirrel.
right, that's right, this week it's about this and focusing on that. And that's what happened when I plugged in that class into my television and just binged watched. And then it was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, next step now is to go in there and do some things. And I
Right.
felt great because I felt like I had accomplished it. I mean, I'd signed up and paid for it. Why not, do it? And that was years
Yeah.
ago, by the way, that I signed up for that class. So years ago, and
Yep.
finally during the quarantine, I'm getting around to watching the videos. But yeah. And so, and of course, Sandy and I've talked many times about Trello. And so I do use that to help me organize and think, okay, these are the things I want to focus on this week, and then breaking them down into actionable steps of, okay, if this is what you want to do, what does that look like? And then, or lists if you want to write things down on paper, whatever works for
Mm-hmm.
you. But that's important because a lot of us probably don't do them if we don't write them down and
Yeah.
schedule them. It's scheduling
Right.
too. Mm-hmm.
And you know what else I'm finding now that we're in this quarantine situation is that getting art supplies, let's say you're taking a class and you need something, good luck.
I know. You're not kidding. It's all over, sold out, back ordered. I mean, like, wow. Yeah.
I know. Like then it's toilet paper, wipes, bleach, and now art supplies. In
Yeah.
fact, I was trying to order a gift and I was looking for a box of crayons. I
Oh,
could not find crayons. They are sold out everywhere.
isn't that crazy? Yeah,
It is
it's
crazy.
because parents are desperate and they need projects for their
Right.
kids to do, and so they're all,
Exactly.
yeah, sidewalk chalk, crayons, you name it, it's not available. And
Bubbles gone.
bubbles, yeah. My husband, I use alcohol, rubbing alcohol at times, and I've been using up the bottle of rubbing alcohol for stuff I've been doing. And so my husband got home today and he said he was so excited that he got the last bottle of rubbing alcohol from Walmart. And I was like, okay, all right, accomplished. Now we got plenty more. But it's like, yeah. It's like all that's, and especially, online because, or it's going to take, oh, we're out of stock. It'll be a month before we get it in. You're like,
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
yeah.
This class that I just purchased, I wanted to buy a watercolor sketchbook.
Mm.
And I went to all of my biggies. I
Oh
went to
boy.
Amazon, Dick Blick, Cheap
Cheap
Joe's,
Joe's.
all of those. And I couldn't get that book for like 3 weeks from
Oh
anyone. And I decided, no,
my.
I'm going to work with what I have, which
Yeah,
is, really important anyway.
sure. Yeah.
But I mean, we got really spoiled. The Amazon 1 day delivery, and now
Uh-huh.
it's 1 month.
I know, I know. Isn't it a good thing though that we have stocked up and we have stuff in our studio that we can use? I mean, like,
Yes.
if you were just
Yes.
starting this as a hobby, uh-oh.
I know. You'd be
Yeah.
at your kid's bedroom door
I
going,
know.
"Can I borrow your crayons?"
Oh, there's mom again raiding my art supply bin. Yeah,
Leave my markers alone,
I
Mom.
know it. That's too funny.
Okay, the next one I'm going to take is learn more about color mixing. Now, it
Mm.
is true that color mixing is my thing. I do love it. But this is a good time to learn what is your palette?
Mm.
What are your favorite colors? What colors can you create out of your favorite colors? Really
Oh.
play with color. That is such a mind-blowing, world-expanding experience to play with color and discover new ones that you didn't know. What happens when you mix your favorite pink and your favorite turquoise together? What do you get?
Mhm.
Spoiler alert, purple. You get shades of purple.
Purple.
But I mean,
Yep.
I didn't know that until, two of my liquid watercolors ran together.
Mm.
And my two favorite colors are pink and turquoise, and they ran together. And I'm like, oh, look
Mm.
at that heliotrope that just formed. So start learning about your favorite colors and what you can make and how you can take two bright, vibrant colors, mix them together and get a very Tuscan, earthy dirt color. I mean,
Mm.
just cool stuff. So yeah, play with color.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a perfect time for that.
It
Absolutely.
really is.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Next one is buy a new book or a magazine if you can get it on Amazon. Um, I actually did this. I bought not a new magazine. I got a new book, and I was really excited because it's about it's kind of an abstracty, painty book, and I was going to get it new on Amazon for I don't know $25 or whatever, and then I saw that there was some they'll put down below you can get it used or whatever, and I
Mm-hmm.
think I got it for like $5, and it's in great condition, so I was like, yeah, and I didn't have to wait too long. They actually shipped it out pretty quickly, so I've had it for a couple weeks now, but. Yeah, so and it's a totally different, like I've never seen the book. I just ordered it and it was like, wow, and just the inspiring colors and all the patterns and everything in it. So, we can visit the ones we have, but, order a new one and get inspired by that or
That's a great
magazines.
idea because, I mean, you actually could have picked up 5 or 6 books used for the price of your
Yes,
one new book.
right. I
How
mean, I was
fun would
like,
that
I was
be?
shocked. I was like, okay, what's the catch here? I'm thinking, and there's no catch. It was brand new. Like I would have never known it was used. So definitely look when you go in there if you're looking on Amazon, because a lot of those secondhand booksellers like Powell's and some of those, they will
Mm-hmm.
actually, and there's a whole bunch of them across the country. They'll list them underneath there. If you look at your listing, it'll say or used from like 5 sellers. And then if you click on
Mm-hmm.
that, it'll tell you the conditions of the book and the pricing and all. And more often than not, they're going to be cheaper. So I was like, wow, more art supplies for me. So,
That's a great
uh,
idea. And the
uh-huh.
other thing is when you're paying $5 for a book or $3 for a book,
Hmm.
you're much more likely to take a chance on something.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, well, this is a gardening book, but I need flower reference
Hmm.
photos. So I'm gonna get
Right.
this and see what happens.
Yeah.
I love
And
that
yeah,
idea.
and even if it's a little used, I mean, because it'll tell, like new or, excellent condition or slightly used or whatever, even if it's that, I
Who
mean, who
cares?
cares? I'm going to end up, beating it up anyway. And all of my books that
Mm-hmm.
I've even used, they're not really in that bad a shape. So it's like, why would I want to? Yeah, it's not like a college reference book where everything's all marked up and you got highlights everywhere. I
Right.
mean, it's an inspiration book, so why not? Yeah. So I was like really excited when I got it. I was like, I need to do this more often. I'll get them
Yeah.
cheaper.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about that would be a great gift idea too. I mean, just to buy someone 5 or 6 books. And it's like,
Yes.
yeah, I paid $20 for these
I
six
know it.
books.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's a cool idea. Okay, I really
Mm-hmm.
like that one. I'm writing that one down for me.
Okay.
Okay, mine is talking about used, is borrowing supplies from a friend and trying
Mm-hmm.
a new medium or a new
Mm.
supply this is a good way, if you have an art buddy, to just give each other free reign. Like, text me what you want. I'll put it in a bag, put it on my porch.
Yes, I was just
And
thinking
then,
about that. Yeah.
then you come get it. Or once we're past quarantine, because eventually life will be normal again, give someone free reign in your studio. Hey, what would you like to borrow? And it's like, hey, I've always wanted to try those metallic watercolors, or I'd love to try that pen. Can I borrow it for 3 days?
Yeah.
It's like
kind of
lending
like,
library.
I love that. Yeah, definitely like that. Just have a nice little bag and you put it on the porch and we're like, okay, it's ready. Just come pick it up. And I love that. And you and I live close, so we could definitely drive over to each other's house and be like, all right, here's your bag.
Yeah.
We've done bag porch deliveries before for other things.
We have.
So, yeah. I love it. That's a great idea.
I think that's a great idea. We should start doing that. We as a community should start doing that. Like, someone wants to try, I don't know, they want to try oil painting, or they want to try stamping or whatever. It's like, hey, I've got that. Come borrow mine.
Well, a lot of, I don't know if you're a part of it, but there's what is that? It's like neighborhood something or another that you can sign up for.
Yes.
It's like everywhere, but it's
the app.
tailored to yours. Yeah, neighborhood something. Yeah, because I get notifications on, there's a dog running around loose. Has anybody lost a dog or whatever? But that would be a way to start it, where you could do it within your neighborhood thing, or even if you did it on your street. Because I know some people on my street that are artistic. In fact, interior decorator lady just moved in next door or across the street. And I didn't know what she did. She didn't know what I did. And we were talking one day out at the mailbox, and it was like, oh, well, what do you do? Well, this is what I do. Really? We need to talk. So it was like, I didn't even know. I mean, because they kind of moved in right before this all started. So, but yeah, that would be cool. Even if you did it on your street or in your, like a few blocks of your neighborhood, you could do it. You could create flyers and put them in mailboxes. Who knows? I mean, it's just get creative.
Yeah. Or maybe, if you have an organization, whether it's a church or any kind of social group, you could do it there and say, hey, anybody else creative? Do you want to trade supplies? Yeah.
There was it's not open now, but one of the local stamp stores years ago, they would do, I think it was like once a quarter, a couple times a year. It was like a flea market, but it was more of like a trade depot kind of thing, where you would bring what you wanted that you didn't want anymore. And then it would open up, and then you could just come. And I don't think any of it was for sale. I don't remember if it was for sale, if it was like really cheap or not, but you could just like donate stuff, and then you could come and you could pick things that you wanted from what was donated, which I thought was really cool. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that idea a lot.
Okay. So next I have creativity partner and support. And yeah, this is
love it.
Wow. This is so important. The idea of just checking in with someone. I had mentioned this earlier on a couple past podcasts, where I had originally planned to go to California in March, and my trip got canceled. And that was to see, my art friend Susan, and we were really disappointed. So we've just been doing live Zoom sessions where we just try to tune in, and we set our laptops up where each one of us can see the other, but where we would be kind of creating, we can see what we're working on. And we just chit chat back and forth. We get up and go take a break if we want. We just keep it going, but it's almost like we're together. And it's great because then it's like, hey, what are you going to work on today? I'm going to be doing this.
Right.
So I know I can look forward to that or tune in to doing that. And then I think it's just, even if you're not doing that, it's just having somebody that you can just check in with and say, all right, I know you're working on this, how's it coming along? Or it's just like with anything else, like weight loss, it's the same concept, right? So how are you doing that?
Well, I'm FaceTiming with people, friends, and we're both just working, same thing.
Yes.
But for me, especially in those times when I was having a really hard time getting started, just seeing someone else do something, and you're like, hey, what are you doing? What are you using? And then you're like, well, I want to try that. And it really does get all those juices flowing again.
Yeah. It really does.
It was so helpful when I was just like stuck.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I love that one. And anytime. It doesn't have to be during a pandemic.
No, it doesn't. No, absolutely not.
Okay, next one. Join an online challenge and fully participate.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what that means is not only are you doing the challenge and you're keeping up with it, but you're posting, you're
Mm-hmm.
commenting, you're going on that hashtag and giving other people love and saying, hey, I love what you did there. I love that color. I love whatever. But just fully participating in it, and you'll see how much you get out of it when you're doing that. So I think that's a wonderful one, is find a challenge, get in there, and really be active.
Right. Absolutely. And it's something that, it, depending on what it is, commit to what you can do and just make that time each day. If it's something you're posting, make time to go and leave comments on others and encourage them. I know there was somebody who at the beginning of the 100-day project, she had reached out and said, I'm not going to be able to do this, but I'm going to be able to encourage others. So I've picked, I think she said like 5 or 10 different people who were doing it. And she goes, so my contribution to the 100-day project is to encourage them, is to encourage those people. And I was like, wow, that is your 100-day project. That's your action. That's what you've chosen to do. And I thought, that's a really great idea. So, yeah.
Wow. I wish there were more cheerleaders out there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. I was like, good for her. Good for you.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. She says, I can do that. So, yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so my last one is making gifts for others. And this has always been something I've thought of when I really didn't know what to do or what to create. It was always an easy thing to do, is just say, I'll just go in and create something for somebody else, whether it's mail art or a card, or it could be anything. And what I've done too, as of late, during this time, because I've been making a lot of, funky papers to use, is just cut those up. I would be using them in something else, but then I'll create these like little bundles and I'll mail those out. So it's not really a gift as in a thing that's completed, but another fellow artist would love to have little papers. And so I'll just do these little bundles and put them in envelopes and mail them out. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't need to be this, like, you're building this giant journal for someone and you've decorated every page and it took you 40 hours. Yeah, I mean, it can be as simple as, even if it's a store-bought card you have, maybe you're adding art marks, maybe you're adding doodling, or maybe you're just painting the envelope.
Right.
But just something where you get started in that spirit of kindness that really gets you going. And you just never know the effect you're going to have on someone else when they open that mailbox and see that someone was thinking of them.
Yeah, you're right.
It's really important. I love that one. In fact, it was funny. I was on Twitter and I saw a grandson had tweeted that his granddad, who is in a nursing facility, was getting ready to turn 100.
Wow.
And it was a huge birthday. And he, of course, they're closed. You can't get in and see your loved ones. So he was asking anyone who would to send him a birthday card.
Oh.
So I did. I had a birthday card, and then I decorated the envelope.
Yeah.
And I sent it off to him. I have no idea who he is.
Oh.
But, bless his heart, he's turning 100 alone. So, yeah, I mean, those kind of things. Maybe it's you make a sign and you put it in your front window.
Yeah.
Or you do sidewalk art for families to see when you're walking past. Just something to lift people's spirits. It's so important.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, we know how we feel when we open the mailbox.
Absolutely.
There's that colorful something. You're like, yes, I got something today.
Yes. Yay, there's something colorful in here and it doesn't look like a bill.
Yes.
Or junk mail. Yeah, we always love that. Yep, for sure.
And my last one is to post on Instagram. I think that this is really fun. Do something, a little piece of art, or maybe even repost art that you've done before and put it on Instagram and look at your art through other people's eyes. I think you learn so much when people comment and say, I love that color. They always pick something that you think
That's
is
true.
so insignificant.
Hmm.
And then you start to see it through someone else's eyes. And that can be really enlightening
Yeah.
and bring your creativity to a new level because you didn't even realize that that thing you were
Hmm.
doing that you do offhandedly
Yeah.
was touching someone else.
Yeah. This just popped into my head here. I wonder what it would be like to take like, let's say whatever you posted today, whatever your art today or tomorrow or whatever, and then go back a year in your Instagram and then do like a story where it's, here's what I posted a year ago art wise, and then here's what I'm posting today. And just kind of see what the difference is and what the change is and kind of analyze it and be like, okay, this was a year ago and here's kind of how I felt about this or how I feel about it now, and here's where I'm at now. I mean, that would make, I don't know, it would probably be uplifting, and then people could see the progress, and especially encouraging to those that are like, oh, I can't post my stuff because it's not good enough, or I don't think who's going to
Mm-hmm.
like it or whatever. But that would be kind of fun. Like,
That's fascinating.
I mean, I'm talking like a year, think
Yeah.
about, and I think it kind of came to me because this morning when I was checking Facebook, it always pops up and says 3 years ago today, and this is what you posted. And one of them was like 9 years ago. And I looked at it, I was like, whoa, I posted that 9 years ago. I'm so embarrassed, but it's like, it was cool to see,
Mm-hmm.
wow, I've made a lot of progress and I've changed a lot and my art's changed. And yeah, so anyway, I just thought about that. That would be kind of fun, something fun to do. You could do it in
That's
stories so you don't have to repost, or you could do a carousel post where you post what your post is for today art wise, and then add in the second post is what you posted a year ago in that same, or do it in stories.
I think that is just so
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I would love to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
so
would be fun.
cool.
I mean, you can eyeball it back a year. I mean, it's not that hard to go through your feed and find what you had a year ago. So, or do 2 years,
Hmm.
whatever. So,
Yeah, or maybe the first time. Like, what was when the first time you posted, like for me, watercolor, or for you,
yeah.
I don't know, paper collage, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what did your first one look like? And now where are you? And how are you different?
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned? Yeah, it would be fascinating.
Yeah. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, it sounds like an online challenge to me.
It does, kind of. Hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then and now. There, I just named it for you.
Remembering your first time, watercolor, acrylic, whatever. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
It
that's
could be a photograph. It doesn't have to be an art thing that you did. It could be your first like creative photograph that you did, or your first
hmm
um, flat lay photography or whatever. But just to kind of look back and see, it'd be kind of fun. Show the progress. Okay, I digress. I was just brainstorming that idea, but anyway.
but I love it. That's a great idea.
Well, that's how ideas happen, right? We chit chat and then it happens. So, all right, guys, there's 14 ideas. Should we run through them one more time just to close up?
We can try. My list, I've scratched all through it. I don't know if I can
Oh,
read it anymore.
all right.
Can you read yours?
I think so.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. All right. So let's recap the ideas that we came up with just briefly. We touched on joining a class, signing up for a class, taking the class, being involved in an online community, something like a Facebook group, creating and making a daily habit to be creative, posting on Instagram, kind of seeing your work through others' eyes, inspiration journal, create and start one of those, live stream paint-alongs, join in on one of those, creativity partners so that you can have some support, making gifts for others, organizing your studio, making goals and action steps to keep you creative, borrow supplies, try new mediums from friends, join a challenge and be involved in that challenge, buy a new book or magazine, and also color mixing, trying out new color palettes or blending the ones that you like. So there we go, guys.
Great job. Yeah, those are good.
All right. Go out and boost your creativity.
We vote yes.
All right. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Creatives Get Real. We love hearing from you, so hop on over to Instagram and leave us a comment. And we also appreciate reviews on iTunes.
And you can find me, Sandi Keene, at sandykeene.com, and my classes at popupartclasses.com.
And you can find me, Roben-Marie Smith, at robenmarie.com. And if you're looking for and need tech support, check out my membership site, makerstechu.com.